Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Part 4 of our RC10 long arm build series. So, did figure out a couple things, and I wanted to get this video out because the speed controller I have has a short in it or something. It is not working, so I have another hobby wing coming. Should have that Sunday, and I can finish wiring this up and hopefully get this set. But a couple things I wanted to point out as I was working through this is, number one, if you saw an earlier video about the steering setup, you remember me saying how I took like 3mm out of the steering rack? Yeah, don't do that. So I had to put a 2mm washer back in there. I don't know, maybe this is a good thing. I cut it down 3mm. I put a 2mm washer back in there, and it has pretty much aligned my steering almost perfectly, which maybe it's more perfecter if I want to cut it all. That I do not know. So our Protect servo is mounted in there. The one thing I can confirm is the servo horn has to be a 15.5 millimeter height. And the reason for that is, as you were going through the throw, you can see it there's minimal clearance there on the top deck for that to go. But the linkage doesn't hit the servo, so that all moves well. But 15.5 on the servo horn, whether it's aluminum or plastic, is the way to go. And then maybe don't cut our world's rack, or cut it down like I did and put a washer on there. That looks kind of cool, right? Looks factory team. Mounted our battery, got our foam back in there, mounted our FlySky receiver, just like I have in my other build video as far as my world's graphite, or my fan RC graphite car, setting this up really the same way. Surpass Rocket V6 21.5 is in there. Got our Octalock. Did get my 27 ultralight trendy pinion, so that will go on here. I'll get the ESC I ordered from Amazon, should have it here Sunday. We'll get that mounted up. Got bullet connectors for that as well. The other big thing I left off with was the rear shock package. So if you look at this, again, big thank you to Hobby Action for coming through and getting these out to me. These are 1.02 shocks. There's no limiters in them. I can adjust the droop, is almost perfect. You can see, maybe not see, the pin of the CVD is right at the edge of the outdrive, the way it sits right now. And I do have the bottom shocks, the shock eyelet unscrewed a number of turns to get that, so I still have room to screw that in a little bit. And then as far as travel, I get way more stroke. I probably will put in a limiter in there in the bottom, just a black rubber O-ring, just so it doesn't compress all the way and it hits that. But I still get free suspension movement, and I don't have any binding in the dog bones. So this is the exact same shock setup I have on my fan RC. And I do have the other shocks sitting over there in the back, the 1.32s. I will use those as perhaps a tuning aid, maybe switch these shafts into those bodies, but I can get more stroke out of this than I can the 1.32s. So for right now, I am going to run the 1.02s in the back, just like my graphite, and go from there and see how that works. But I did want to get, it's a short video, it's quick, but I did want to get an update out there as guys are working on their, perhaps their long arms, that this is pretty much finished now. All I got to do is get my speedo in here. I'll mount that on the side. I'll get my connectors in there. And then what I'll do is run it through the bulkhead. Oops, almost got you there. Run it through the bulkhead. Run my wires out just like I did on my fan graphite, and mount those up here and get those soldered in. And then we should be ready to go. Moore is doing a track change on Friday. It sounds like they will have it done by Saturday, so I may go race Saturday, or may not, because I might. I think there's daddy-daughter dance, so we'll go to that instead. But maybe what we'll do is go get some practice and get a little preview of the Rumble layout that's happening. So I did mount up some slicks. So got my J Concept Smoothie 2s, thick front sidewalls in the front so they don't roll over. and then just regular Smoothie 2 rears in silver compound. So I get those on here. I will, once I get the electronics in, all that weighted, I'll measure ride height. You know, we run about 18 millimeters ride height at Moore. That seems to be pretty good. That's what I'm running on my fan graphite as well. So I'll set this up really similar on that end as well, and try to get that adjusted. But it is coming together. It is almost complete, and we are going to try to get this on the track maybe Saturday or Sunday and get that out there. I will take my fan graphite, we'll take my 870C, and perhaps run those around. But again, just wanted to do a quick video on where we stood with our part 4 of our long arm build and some of the things I'm running into. And like I said, so far so good with everything. Just wanted to confirm a couple things. Again, don't cut your rack down. 15.5 servo horn. I do prefer the 1.02 shocks in the back, and I will experiment with that a little bit on setup as I get this car dialed in. So wanted to get this out, and then part 5 should be just finishing this thing up as far as a build goes there, and then getting this thing out on the track. Thanks, guys.